Congratulations, you've done the first step towards understanding your purpose in life. What does that mean? Finding the job that truly fulfills you. Starting a new business that will change the world. Being an amazing founder and an amazing person. And feel every day deeply connected to what you do. My name is Bonnie Morlock. I'm a global startup coach. I coach startup founders around the world. One of the exercises we do is the Ikigai. Ikigai is a Japanese word, and I think it loosely translates into the meaning of life. Imagine 4 circles. They overlap each other in the middle. First one is what makes you truly happy, what gives you the spark of joy. Second circle, what are your talents, your gifts, what are you good at? Third circle, what grinds your gear and what would you really like to change if you could? What change do you want to see in the world? Number 4 is what can I get paid for? Or even better, what do you want to see in abundance in your life? And whatever you do with your life, it should touch all 4 areas. Not necessarily equally, because sometimes you don't make enough money, sometimes you have to learn a new skill, but generally speaking, whatever you do should make you happy, you should be good at it, it should make the world a better place, and you should live in abundance. At the end of this course, you will understand your North Star. You will understand what career path will be most fulfilling for you. Maybe you want to do a startup. Maybe you want to change your current startup in a new direction. This course is 4 little videos long, but it will take about 2 hours to complete. So have fun, and maybe you drop me a line and tell me about your experience. Thanks, have fun. Lesson 1 is about the first circle. What makes you happy? Forests make me happy. So I'm filming this in the forest. Well, in the botanical gardens in Sydney. Let's find a quiet place, get a piece of paper, a favorite pen, and a glass of water. Let's begin. What makes you happy? What fulfills you deeply? What gives you the spark of joy? For me, it's forests. I love trees. Really love trees. When was the last time you forgot time and space? Think back. What did you do? Was it knitting, swimming, horseback riding, gardening, walking in the park, designing formulas for an Excel spreadsheet? Anything goes, there's no right or wrong. And be as truly honest as you can be. On your piece of paper, put a headline, things that make me happy, and start writing. For a lot of people, the first thing they say is money. Think about what you would do with the money. And this is not just about you today, this is about you and your whole life. Think back as far as your first memory. I loved Lego. I got immersed in playing Lego. I would play for hours and build starships and put wheels on things and make the most amazing cars. What was it for you? Tree climbing, another one. Building tree houses, collecting tadpoles, observing those little tadpoles and then seeing whether they get little legs, and that was my world. All these things, write them down. They're important. There are 2 things to be aware of when you're writing down things that make you truly happy. Number 1 is we often mix up what we are good at with what makes us happy. For example, let's just say I was really good at soccer. I wasn't. But if you're really good at soccer and You know, your classmates carry you on their shoulders and your teachers love you and your parents praise you. But soccer is so like, meh, you're good at it, but doesn't really truly make you happy. Then it's the praise that makes you happy. You can write down the praise. If praise makes you happy, write it down. So that's number one. And number two is that intelligent people like you often answer the questions in a way that the answers support where they are in life right now, that support their decisions and try to prove themselves right, which is something that is not very helpful for finding your true purpose. So try to answer as honest as possible. I assume you have a list of things on your notes now. And now let's unpack some of them. Let's say travel. Travel makes you happy. Try to unpack that a little bit. What about travel makes you happy? Is it the airport food? Is it packing? Is it the anticipation for weeks? Is it the arriving, the smell, the air, the languages, the food? Try to unpack. Is it meeting new people? One thing that I really like is going to a totally strange culture, go to a supermarket and see what sort of sweets they have. Well, they're often American, but sometimes there's some really wild and wonderful stuff. In Thailand, I found salted fried crickets, and they were delicious. But I'm going off point here. Unpack the whole things a little bit and write all these things down. There's no right or wrong here. All right. Well done. And now, read the list out loud to yourself and take note. Then leave some space at the bottom and we're going to the next lesson. Now let's find a way out of this forest and go to lesson number 2. All right, things I'm truly good at. This should go fast. Start a new piece of paper and write down things I'm good at. Then just rattle it down. Anything goes. No modesty here. Start with the little things. I'm good at folding fitted sheets. I'm not. I'm good at doing the dishes. I'm good at decorating rooms. I'm good at Excel spreadsheets. I'm good at formatting Word documents. I'm good at woodwork. I'm good at flying planes. Anything. Just start writing it down on your professional side and on your private side, your whole life. And don't forget things that you were really good at when you were a kid. Maybe you were very good at balancing on a fence or horseback riding. I was really good at climbing trees. So all of this goes on the list. Have fun. While you write down the things you're good at, I'm trying to find another location that's not so windy. Ah yes, the Opera House. Circle number 3 is about what you think the world needs. What grinds your gears? What would you change if you could? What change do you want to see in the world? What the world needs? Well, world peace. But this lesson is about the change that you want to see in the world. This is very personal. So take a piece of paper and write down the change I want to see in the world. Let's say I gave you a magic wand. Like this one. And I give you 3 minutes. And after those 3 minutes, you can make a wish. And at 3 minutes and 30 seconds, the magic wand is not magic anymore. So you really have to make up your mind. So, I give you 3 minutes right now. Something that is important to you. Make it something that is measurable and achievable. And this can be as personal as, well, I don't want to step into dog poo anymore in my neighborhood. Or I would like children to have better art education. Maybe you want to see indigenous culture taught in schools more. Maybe you want cars to be quieter. Maybe you don't want cars at all. Make a wish. Two minutes to go. One minute to go. Thirty seconds. Three minutes are up. Here's your magic wand. Make your wish. Write down as clearly as possible what your wish is. And try to give it a time and space. I would love to see orange trees all across the city by the end of next year. I would like to see every unused space in my city turned into vegetable gardens. This sentence you just wrote should fill you with excitement. You're going to change the world. It's going to be better. It's going to be better because of you. you could almost feel it, that sense of fulfillment. Let's go back to the first two lists, the things that you are good at and the things that give you the spark of joy. And let's try to find pairs, not the fruit, the couples. Then discard the rest. For example, I'm really good at enterprise sales, but I don't like it. That doesn't make the list. I love drumming, but I suck at it. That doesn't make the list. Only the things that you're truly good at and that give you the spark of joy. Create those pairs and color code them, give them numbers or start a new page, whatever works for you here. I often find that at this stage we remember more things that should go on the list of the things that give us joy and the things that we're good at. Let's just say I wrote down I really like bike riding and suddenly I realized, you know what, I'm also really good at it. Write them together as a pair on a new piece of paper or color code them or circle them in a certain way, whatever works for you. Give it some thought. Okay, you can stop here. Remember, you can always go back to these lists and edit them. Take things off, put things on. It's totally fine. Now we want to see if those pairs of the things that we're good at and the things that give us joy could in any shape or form be helpful for making the world a better place, according to you. Sometimes we have to get a little creative. Let's say you want to save the whales, but you get seasick. And none of the things on your list seem to be remotely helpful for saving whales. You're an accountant. You sit in an office and you really love what you're doing. You love accountancies. You just love how things balance and you're really good with math and you're really good with Excel spreadsheets and you're really good with numbers all around. Greenpeace needs an accountant, I'm sure. Maybe you're good at fundraising. So your skills and the things that make you happy could be very helpful for saving the whales. Under your wish, write down the pairs of the things that could be even remotely be helpful in making the world a better place according to you. Be generous, be creative. Have fun. And this leads us to abundance. How can I make the world a better place with the things I'm good at and the things that make me truly happy and make a living out of it? How can I earn money? Money is usually only one of the answers here. Perhaps you like fresh air. Perhaps you like hanging out with friends. Holidays with your family. Clear water, organic food. Write it down. A lot of the things that we want to see in abundance in our life can be achieved without money. For example, I'm filming this video today and rather than sitting in my office, I'm going in the park. What I want to see in abundance in my life is fresh air and nature. So write down all the things that are important to you, that you really want to see in abundance in your life. Maybe it's being barefoot. Maybe it's being outside. Maybe it's being warm. Maybe organic food. Nice clothes. There's a lot of things that, if we think about it creatively, we can achieve without paying for it. For example, I want to see nature in abundance in my life. I want to see trees, have fresh air, green grass, and a bit of space. I also like cities. So I moved to a city that has beautiful parks, and I can have both. And both are for free. Okay, let's play a little game. Let's assume we have been hired as script writers for a TV show. Next week we have a meeting and we have to present job descriptions for all of the characters. One of the characters is based on you. All the things you've just written down are basically describing this character. Remember, it's not you, it's based on you. So we have some creative freedom here. Write down 3 job descriptions for this character. It doesn't have to be 100% realistic. You know, like a lot of TV shows, the cop has an insanely big apartment and you would go like, how can he afford that? Have a little bit of creative freedom. I mean, go a little bit crazy even. Not as crazy as selling pizza on Mars, but come up with something cool, something really interesting. Something that sort of makes you feel, hey, that character has a really cool job. Write down 3 of those, okay? This can take 15 minutes, or this can take a week. Take your time on this one. Remember, this is not you. This is a movie character based on you. Have fun. Now look at your notes. Look at the 3 job descriptions. Would any of these jobs be something that you might be interested in? Look at the pairs of things that make you truly happy and you're good at. Look at the change you want to see in the world. Let all of this sink in. This is your North Star. This is your clarity. Well, now you have a list of things that are important to you. The change you want to see in the world. Things that make you truly happy. That give you the spark of joy. Things you're good at. And things you want to see in abundance in your life. Now think about how you spent your time the last year. When I first did this exercise, I found that a lot of the things on my lists I already had in my life. I was doing something I was good at. I earned good money. I was relatively happy with what I did. But I realized over time that I didn't really do anything that made the world a better place. So I had this feeling of wasting my life. Maybe you have a similar feeling, that most of the things you already have, but something is missing. So we will look at the Ikigai in a little bit more detail in a moment.
So let me bring up the Ikigai graphic, my interpretation of it at least, and look around and think about your life, last week, last month, last year, last 2 years, and see which areas are the strongest in your life, and also honestly think if there might be something missing. I think personally I found the biggest trap for me is having something that I'm good at, that I also love doing, and I have the abundance, and I was satisfied from a materialistic point of view, but I felt a little bit useless. I was really not contributing to the things that really matter to me. Have a look around here and see what your life looks like right now.
Generally speaking, see your lists as your North Star. If you're right in the center, you do something that makes the world a better place, you are doing something you're really good at, and it makes you truly happy, and you have a lot of abundance in your life, congratulations, wonderful. Now you have clarity that you are exactly where you should be. And if you're a little bit more like me and you are sort of slightly off center on some of the points, then this doesn't mean you have to go out and change your life in one big bang. Keep your lists at a place where you find them again and look at them from time to time, and especially when some opportunities come your way, and see whether these opportunities align with who you truly are. Well, the scariest and also the most rewarding thing in life is to be able to say no to opportunities if they're not totally in line with who we truly are. The interesting thing is that everybody I worked with who has found this North Star and took the courage to say no to things or to opportunities that were not in line with their lists, with their clarity, and rather waited a little bit longer and then made those little micro decisions every day towards who they truly are, every single one of them now does something that is truly fulfilling to them. Every single one of them lives in abundance, often doubling the income they had before, living at beautiful places, are much happier, but not just much happier in themselves, also in their relationship, because they suddenly try to live who they truly are, and it reflects and it resonates all around them. So use this list slowly, let it come to you. So this exercise is not meant to change your life dramatically overnight. It is more of a reminder of who we are, what we want, what makes us happy, who we used to be as a child, and how we really want to live our life. Why are we here? What's the reason for living? So when you come across little micro decisions in your life or opportunities that might seem great, check this list and see if it's in line with your North Star. I hope this helps, and with this we go to the next lessons where clarity is great, clarity is amazing, but we also need the strength and the discipline to follow our clarity, which is what we talk about in the next lesson. I hope you have enjoyed the Ikigai session and your clarity comes more and more into focus. Give it time. There's no right and wrong. There's only you and your path, your purpose, whatever it might be. Now, as I said in the last lesson, clarity is amazing. However, it can only change your life for the better if you are actually having the strength to act on it. The next lessons are all about the emotional core strengths that help you turning the insights of the clarity into actionable changes. Sometimes these changes are dramatic. Sometimes these changes are subtle. Sometimes you just have to fine-tune. I find one of the most important aspects about clarity is to understand where we are emotionally at any given point in time. Having emotional intelligence will help us to develop emotional core strength. What that means is a little bit like a fitness center or a gym. You go in and you see where you're already flexible and strong and other areas need some work. And it's no different to your emotional makeup. Well, hello, little buddy. Well, in the next lessons we will talk about our emotional core strengths. We know where we want to go, but in order to get there, we have to understand where we come from and where we are right now. What are emotional blind spots? Well, I guess they're a lot like our actual blind spots. For example, when I am looking around this beautiful garden, I am not aware of the tip of my nose. Even so, I always see it. Everybody always sees the tip of their nose, and our brain deletes that information. It ignores it. I'm unaware of it until I'm thinking about it, and now I see it. I focus on it, I see it. Emotional blind spots are a lot like that. We carry around a bunch of helpful and unhelpful emotions in our lives. You do, I do, everybody does. And our brain chooses to ignore some of them. Why is the brain doing that? With the nose, it's pretty obvious. It's quite annoying to see your nose all the time. So deleting that makes a lot of sense. But why is the brain deleting or ignoring some of the emotional backgrounds? Well, there's a very good reason for that. As young children, we might have experienced some form of trauma. Often little things, sometimes big things. And we were too little to be able to cope with that trauma. We didn't have the mental tools to deal with all that. So our brain has this neat little trick and just ignores what's going on in our lives and stores it away and buries it deep. Now that's a very useful survival tool for children. Unfortunately, the brain doesn't have a timer and brings everything up when we can actually deal with it. So we stay unaware of those emotional blind spots. Luckily, there are tools to bring them to the surface and properly deal with them and get rid of them forever. Why does it even matter? Why bring up childhood traumas now? Well, yes, I am an adult now and I can deal with it, but I don't really want to. I want to do other things, fun things. I don't want to sit in a corner and, cry and work through stuff. I want to have a good time. I'm getting along just fine. Leave it there. But am I? The tricky thing with emotional blind spots is that we don't know what we don't know. So we are living our lives, and a lot of the decisions we make, we think we make intelligently and based on our rationale. But it's not entirely true. About 80% of our decisions have more to do with our hidden and shadow childhood traumas than they have to do with our current needs. We are still reacting as emotional children, even as adults. And sometimes that can be quite helpful, and sometimes it can be an outright disaster. In any case, I have decided that I want to know about my blind spots, bring them to the surface, deal with the ones I want to deal with, and generally live a more aware life. I do like the idea of being in control of my life. I do like the idea of being the master of my own destiny. And the concept of having childhood memories and traumas buried deep inside my soul that influence decisions to the present day doesn't quite gel with me. So I wanted to know. I wanted to bring them to the surface when I have the strength and the clarity for doing so, and deal with them. At least understand them. But how do you look at your emotional blind spots? Your visual blind spots is easy, like I can look at the tip of my nose right now. But how do you look at emotions? One tool to discover our emotional blind spots is a little bit counterintuitive. Think about what ticks you off in other people. What grinds your gears? What don't you like? Or the people you don't like, what is it you don't like about them? Interestingly enough, that's a very strong indicator of things you don't like about yourself. For example, one thing I don't like is sitting in a nice restaurant and 2 tables down, somebody is talking really, really loud. And it really annoys me. Like, why is this person so inconsiderate? Well, it turns out that I'm that person too. I talk very loud, and people have been pointing that out to me. And I go like, what? Not me, surely. And that was a prime example of one of my blind spots. So another good pointer for emotional blind spots is things we tend to avoid. Conflicts we don't want to have, situations we don't want to get into, people we don't want to deal with. Looking into why that is and what we feel, what we truly feel at those moments, can be very insightful. And of course, our friends. Really good friends tell us what we need to hear and not what we want to hear. So sit down with your best friend and ask them, in all seriousness, what they think is the chip on your shoulder. However, if you feel that you have a very strong emotional reaction, either anger or fear or anxiety, anything that really upsets you in this conversation, I suggest you stop right there and you consider a therapy session. If you've never been to a therapist, it's really cool. It's really easy. It's a bit like when you have a toothache, you go to a dentist. When you have something that upsets you emotionally, you go to a therapist. It's actually a sign of strength to be able to admit weakness. So go do it, and it's not a big commitment. Let's just say you book 1 hour, and if you don't like it, walk out. If you don't like it, never come again. But perhaps you're touching on something that you've been carrying around for a long, long time. and fixing it and healing it might actually make your life